This is my latest Fallout New Vegas character, Gia. She's already killed the man who shot her in the head, prevented NCR President Kimball from an assassination attempt, collected enough caps to be considered a member of the 1%, and replaced Mr. House as the leader of New Vegas. Since she's basically already conquered the Mojave, I'm gonna take Gia on an adventure to a terrifying place she will never forget, the Sierra Madre from the Dead Money DLC. If you've heard only one thing about this DLC, it's probably that you can leave the casino with 37 gold bars, totaling almost 400,000 caps. Unfortunately, as with all good things in Fallout, there's a catch. You can't really leave the casino with all the gold bars. The bars weigh over 1,000 pounds, and you have to either sneak or run out of the vault. Being over-encumbered makes this a difficult task, so I've decided that it's just not worth it. I've already broken all the casinos in the game, so I'm good on money for the next eternity or whatever. What I'm not good on is my character's clothes. Gia has been wearing this dapper gambler suit, which isn't even a suit, by the way, ever since she won it at the Atomic Wrangler. I mean, the Atomic Wrangler? That's the best she can do? She's above the garments of a low-level casino in Freeside. What she belongs in is Vera Keyes' dress, buried deep within the Sierra Madre Hotel. Over 200 years ago, before the Great War, this guy named Frederick Sinclair built the Sierra Madre for an actress named, you guessed it, Vera Keyes. He was paranoid about the very real possibility of nuclear war, so he built a vault inside the casino to protect her. I won't spoil the rest of the story yet. All you need to know is that Vera Keyes and her dress are still in there, waiting for my entitled little usurper to come in and take it. As NBC's Will Graham has said, this is my design. The DLC starts with a radio signal called Sierra Madre Broadcast. Missed opportunity to call it the Sierra Modcast.
Has your life taken a turn? Do troubles beset you? Has fortune left you behind?
Anyway, the signal is coming from an abandoned Brotherhood of Steel bunker just south of Camp Forlorn Hope. When I went inside, I got a notification that Dead Money is recommended for experienced couriers with 20 or more levels under their belts. I was level 24, so this did not deter me. There's a door on the left of the bunker that leads to some sort of shelter belonging to a man named Elijah. Kind of weird to distinguish who lived here before, but worry not. Our mysterious Elijah will soon reveal himself. In the meantime, we've got a bunker to explore.
And leave the world behind at the Sierra Madre grand opening this October. We'll be waiting. Has your life taken a
Okay, seriously? The slideshow for Dead Money is probably my favorite in the entire series. It wastes no time letting you know that the Sierra Madre is not for the faint of heart, or skills for that matter. The language used here really does make it feel like you're about to step into a completely different gameplay experience, which is absolutely true. I would classify most of Bethesda's Fallout as an open-world RPG/FPS hybrid, while the Dead Money DLC is 100% survival horror. From this slideshow, we learn that the Sierra Madre was a pre-war hotel and casino that was supposed to host some of the old world's most famous celebrities, but the bombs had other plans. Kinda fitting, since the whole point of the Sierra Madre was for people who came there to begin again.
It's still out there, in the wastes, preserved, just waiting for someone to crack it open. But getting to it, that's not the hard part. It's letting go.
Upon arrival, I'm greeted by my least favorite Fallout character of all time, Father Elijah.
Are you listening? Good. From now on, when I talk, listen and follow my instructions.
For the past whoever knows how long, Elijah has been using the abandoned Brotherhood of Steel bunker to kidnap people to the Sierra Madre, force them into these explosive collars, and manipulate them into entering the casino so he can eventually reach the vault. I'll get to the many reasons why I hate him later, but right now my main problem is this stupid explosive collar.
It's like that Pip-Boy on your wrist, except filled with explosives.
There are speakers all over the map that are connected to the collar. If you're in range of a speaker, the collar will start to beep, and if you let it beep for too long, it explodes and you die. Not only that, but my collar is also connected to other people's collars, meaning that if mine goes off, so do theirs. This is how Elijah controls the people he's been kidnapping, and now he's sending me off to go find 3 of them: Dog, Christine, and Dean Domino. Although the Sierra Madre is home to my least favorite character in the series, it's also home to one of my favorites, Christine. Because I love her so much, I decided to go looking for her first. Christine is somewhere in the medical district of the villas, so I left the hologram fountain and started heading west. I have played this once before, so I had an idea of what to expect here. The Sierra Madre is infested with undead maintenance workers called ghost harvesters and ghost trappers. From terminals that I didn't read this time around, you learn that they were consistently endangered during the building of the Sierra Madre, particularly in the villas where the Red Cloud is. And since they're undead, you can't just kill them regularly. You have to either disintegrate them or dismember them. I did forget I had to do that when I downed my first ghost harvester though. I wish I'd been recording my voice when this happened so you could hear how haunted I was when that thing stood back up. Getting to the Villa clinic was no problem. The problem only started when I went inside. Another obnoxious game mechanic in Dead Money is these stupid hologram guards. They have set paths that they go back and forth on, and if they see you, they turn red and start shooting lasers out of their face at you. Not very nice of them considering I'm just here to rescue my fellow girl kisser. Luckily, the hologram in this area is much more manageable than others, so I didn't get caught by it once. I think by now I've gone over everything you can get tortured by in the Sierra Madre. Believe me when I say Dead Money is the most unforgiving DLC. I don't want to hear anybody judging me for savoring every minute or two because the Sierra Madre is an expert at killing you. Plus, Fallout New Vegas has this cute little habit of crashing every half hour or so. This will come up later. Christine is trapped in an auto dock in the lower floor of the Villa clinic. Thinking that the animation of her leaving would interrupt my collar beeping, I sprinted over to open her auto dock. I was wrong. I assumed that I had missed something important in a previous area that would allow me to deactivate the speakers, but upon further investigation, I was wrong about that too. Sort of. Upstairs, I found a key to a locked door in the basement that I missed earlier, so I went in there and found a terminal that allowed me to deactivate the clinic's power. This turned off the speakers and gave me free rein to go talk to Christine. When she emerges from the auto dock, Christine is unable to speak because the machine operated on her. How did she get into the auto dock in the first place? Well, this guy, you might remember his name from earlier, Dean Domino, put her in there after Elijah used Dog to kidnap her to the Sierra Madre. Dean knows that Vera Keys' voice is used to unlock certain things inside the casino, so he needed to alter Christine's vocal cords. I just have to say, that is pretty psychotic behavior when he could easily just go get a recording of her voice from the fountain hologram or from the radio signal. But hey, what do I know? I'm not trying to partake in this quest, I'm just here to say yes to my dress. The vocal cord surgery went horribly wrong, rendering Christine unable to speak at all. Instead, she plays this non-stop game of charades that we don't actually get to see because there are no animations for it. All of her movements are just described in boxes of text. I don't dislike the idea of a non-verbal character, but I just wish it had been executed better. It's often pretty difficult to follow what Christine is referring to when we don't get to see the visuals of what is supposed to be a character who communicates visually. Nevertheless, I have a lot of love in my heart for Christine, so I recruited her for the next part of my mission, finding Dog. As Christine and I made our way there, she let me know that she's quite well versed in technology. Christine used to be a scribe of the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel, the same one that Elijah betrayed and abandoned at Helios 1 all those years ago. Not only that, but Elijah deliberately kept Christine's girlfriend Veronica away from her because the Brotherhood hates lesbians apparently. Christine has it out for Elijah, justifiably so. I'll make sure he gets his ironic comeuppance later. In the meantime, we've got a dog to rescue. Dog can be found behind bars in the Villa police station. In the basement of the police station, I found a holotape recording called Dog Command Tape. Playing this near Dog did prompt him to talk to me, just not as Dog.
Dog, back in the cage. What have we here? You weren't who I was expecting. I'm disappointed.
This Nightkin has dissociative identity disorder brought on by his own disgust at his mutant behavior. Dog is a typical animalistic super mutant, while his alter god is a well-spoken voice of reason who longs for normalcy. Well, as normal as a super mutant can get anyway. Talking to God, you'd think he'd be excited to get out of the cage and go do something. Nope. He actually locked himself in the cage to prevent Dog from doing anything crazy, to put it lightly. It took some time, but I eventually persuaded him to give me the key he hid on his body so I could release him from the cage. I also had to play a recording of Father Elijah's voice to switch God back to Dog. Whether he liked it or not, I needed him to come and eat all those ghost people so they would stop harassing me. Oh, that's one of the perks of having Dog as a companion, by the way. The guy literally eats ghost people when they're unconscious so you don't have to disintegrate or dismember them. It's kinda awesome. Dog, Christine, and I ran back to the fountain uninterrupted by ghost people since I already killed them all. This left just one more companion / future tool to recruit, so this time I headed east. I know I just got done talking about Dog's companion perk, but I chose to bring Christine along with me because unlike Dog, she can do something I can't. When in range of a speaker, Christine increases the time it takes for your collar to explode by 50%, which is going to make it a whole lot easier to traverse the villas. Not easy, just easier. I found Dean sitting inside one of the villas where he forced me to sit down to talk to him because he wanted his explosive armchair to manipulate me into doing what he wants. What's with everybody trying to blow me up in this DLC? I hate it. Luckily, Gia's speech skill is through the roof, so I was able to get through that conversation without getting my butt exploded off. I got the Steam achievement for recruiting all the Dead Money companions at this point, even though I had already played the entire DLC before with a different character. I think using console commands takes away your ability to get achievements, which would explain why I was only getting them now that I wasn't using the kill cheat on ghost people. I was a different person back then, okay? You know who's not a different person? Dean Domino. He's been trying to break into the Sierra Madre vault since before the war. This isn't the first time he's tried to manipulate other people into helping him do it either. Remember Vera Keys, the woman whose dress I'm here to take? Dean got her involved in his little scheme 200 years ago. Obviously, and possibly for the best, it never worked out. Now that I had my fellow kidnappees and the world's smuggest ghoul, I went back to the fountain to talk to Father Elijah again.
Good. Well done. Now for the festivities and your part in all this.
I don't understand why he made me walk all the way back to the fountain just to talk to me when he has access to my Pip-Boy and could totally just talk to me through that like he does at other times. I honestly think this guy just likes making people miserable. And tragically, I'm gonna have to go make all my companions miserable for this next step, too. When the bombs dropped in 2077, the Sierra Madre was sealed shut. The only way to open it is to trigger the Gala event, which was supposed to celebrate the grand opening of the casino and hotel. To do so, I need to get all my companions in positions throughout the villa so we can all activate different parts of the Gala together. I started with Dog since I figured I could just dismember ghost people on my own. I don't necessarily need his companion perk, so it's fine to get him out of the way first. Dog has to be taken to a switching station in a neighborhood called Salida del Sol. The only problem is that he must be locked behind a gate when he gets there. Understandably, Dog and God are both against this.
Why are we here? Dog not want to be here. Place too much like a cage for Dog. If Dog was fed like last time, Dog would listen.
Dog is driven by hunger, so God suggests that Dog may be willing to stay behind the locked gate if I bring him meat from dead ghost people. Sounds reasonable enough, but I'm kinda lazy when it comes to killing enemies. I prefer to avoid it if I can. Fallout usually does provide us pacifists with alternate options, so I just tricked Dog into staying in place while I locked the gate with this terminal. Sorry, Dog, but I'm way too busy to deal with upholding your cannibalistic tendencies. Is it cannibalism if you're a super mutant? This is where the game punishes me for not feeding Dog. When I tried to go through the door to leave Salida del Sol, the game crashed. Okay, New Vegas does this all the time. Nothing to worry about since I was saving so much. I relaunched the game, loaded my most recent save, and it crashed on the door again. And again, and again. I figured something must be wrong with my game files if it kept crashing on the same thing over and over, so I repaired it in Steam. That didn't fix it. I turned off autosave since I read online that might be causing the problem when it tries to save loading into a new area, but that didn't work either. At this point, I only had two options. I could download a mod that fixes New Vegas' chronic crashing problem, or I could use console commands. Playing with mods guarantees that I won't get achievements, and since I was so happy to get that one earlier, I chose to use cheats instead. I mentioned earlier that using cheats can prevent you from earning achievements, but I figured that this was an easier option and that maybe the game would forgive me if it was just one time. Initially, I tried a center on cell command, which should have teleported me directly to the fountain. I don't know why this didn't work. I typed in the code for the area correctly. When teleporting didn't work, I remembered my favorite cheats that I used to fix just about any bug in the game: disable and enable. I disabled and re-enabled the door, and sure enough, I was able to get through. I felt guilty for using cheats, but what else could I have done? After that huge waste of time, I went back to the fountain to go grab Dean.
Strike up the band. Domino's back in town.
His companion perk is that you're unaffected by the red cloud for a short period of time, which is actually a big deal because that cloud drains your health way faster than you'd think. In an area where supplies are limited and every healing item counts, Dean's presence is, for once, welcome. Dean has to be positioned on a rooftop in Puesta del Sol. I was terrified to try the door again, and for good reason. The game crashed at this door too. I wasn't gonna waste any more time on the game getting sick like this, so I just disabled and re-enabled it without a second thought. I couldn't care less if I was technically using cheats, I just wanted to get rid of Dean. Fighting ghost people kept getting easier with every new location, which kind of alarmed me because I definitely remembered struggling with them a lot more when I first played Dead Money. I wasn't even groaning or whining when I saw them anymore. Now I only do that with cazadors.
You're at the Ghoul's Gala area.
So,
Now make him
this
stay.
is where I'm supposed to put on the show. Played better venues, let me tell you. What's that there? Wiring?
Dean, like Dog, is hesitant to be left in his place for the gala. He needs to stand in place and hold two wires together, but he won't do it without protection from the ghost people. Gia's neutral karma really shines in this conversation when she loses karma by lying to Dean, then immediately gains it back by reassuring him. Dean says he'll stay up on the roof by himself if I can activate the hologram guards in the area. There probably is a way to trick Dean into staying in place without appeasing him like what I did to Dog, but it sounded so simple that I felt like I might as well do it. All I had to do was log into 2 terminals, and then I was done. I did take a pretty long detour running around Puesta del Sol just collecting items I thought might be useful later, though. I severely underestimated how well I would handle Dead Money this time, so I kept thinking that I was gonna need 1,000,000 food and healing items to get me through even the most basic tasks. I regularly became over-encumbered, which left me dropping ashtrays and coffee mugs all over the Sierra Madre. I just know Muggy is fuming over in the big empty right now. Maybe someday I'll have Gia go apologize to him. Once I had powered up the holograms, I told Dean and he ran off to take his place for the upcoming Gala event. I was saving Christine for last because I was hoping I'd level up before getting to the end of her Gala quest. There's a dialogue option that allows you to convince Christine to stay where she needs to be if you have Cherchez la Femme, the perk that unlocks homosexuality for female playable characters. I figured this would be the easiest way to persuade Christine, plus it's fun to have that perk for later if I ever want to roleplay lesbianism in a video game after a long day of lesbianism in real life. Luckily, I leveled up right before finishing Dean's quest, so I took the Cherchez la Femme perk and went to go meet up with Christine. Finding the Puesta del Sol switching station was simple, inside was not. There's an electrical box that has to be repaired to open a locked door, which would grant me access to the rest of the area. My repair skill was just 8 short of being able to jury rig it, so I had to go find 3 electric box fuses instead. I actually already had one from when I was looting all over Puesta del Sol with Dean earlier, so at least that made me smile. It didn't take long to find the remaining 2 fuses and fix the electric box. On my way through the switching station, I came across a terminal that allowed me to change the ventilation in the villas. This turned off the red cloud, clearing it from the rest of the switching station and parts of Puesta del Sol. So far, the cloud has been the thing affecting my HP the most, so this was a huge win to me. When I got to the elevator leading to Christine's place for the Gala, she expressed her fears about entering the small enclosed space. It reminds her of being trapped in the auto dock. She doesn't want to get trapped again. There's a terminal right next to the elevator, so I found the terminal password in a locker and unlocked it so Christine could control the power from there instead of taking the elevator. After I finished talking to Christine, Elijah was yapping on my Pip-Boy again about me getting to a bell tower.
The bell tower. That's where you'll trigger the Gala event. It's a ways up. I'm sure you'll find a way to climb up there.
With no companions to do the work for me and a long walk to the other side of the villas ahead, I tore through a lot of ghost people. I probably killed more on this walk than all of the previous areas combined. Still, I made it to the bell tower without dying. Finally, with the help of Dog, Dean, Christine, and arguably Father Elijah, we activated the Gala event.
Careful when you do. You think the villa's bad now, you haven't seen anything yet.
Finally! Now, the gates will open, and so will the skies.
The Sierra Madre Hotel and Casino were now open. But if you think this is a time for celebration, you are sorely mistaken. Earlier, Dean warned me that the Gala event would increase the activity of ghost people, and oh my god, he was not kidding. Being overwhelmed with 3 to 4 ghost people at any moment was way too much for a melee weapon, so I broke out my guns and explosives to take some of them out before they got the chance to get close enough to hit me. I can't tell you how relieved I was when I got to the casino gates. As soon as I stepped inside the casino, I was knocked out by the security system. According to Elijah, the casino will try to subdue any visitors it deems dangerous and move them if need be. At least I wasn't the only one that happened to. All of my companions were also knocked out and dragged to various parts of the casino, and once again, I'm gonna have to track them down. But before that, I have to restore power to the majority of the building. Now's probably a good time to tell you about the Sierra Madre vending machines. The Sierra Madre is a casino, so there's chips all over the map. Fountains, cash registers, nightstands, the ground, you name it, there's chips there. I amassed a decent amount of chips in the villas, but I had been periodically spending them on stim packs. You can buy other things from the vending machines like chems and food. You can also return cigarettes and pre-war clothes to the vending machines in exchange for chips. Now that I had entered the casino, I was ready to use my luck 10 stat to exponentially increase my wealth. But none of the games work without their hologram dealers, so I had to put off gambling for a little while. In this game, that's a big deal, and that's sad. After poking around the bar and security areas for an embarrassing amount of time, I finally remembered where I needed to go to turn on the building's power. Just one problem, there's a hologram guard standing right in front of the door. There are tiny blue circles that let you deactivate the hologram, so I did that, then flipped on the Sierra Madre's electricity. This woke up all of the hologram dealers from before, which meant it was gambling time! Having luck 10 is essential to gambling in Fallout New Vegas. You're pretty much guaranteed to win most of the time, and half the time when you don't win, you just break even. My game of choice is blackjack, since I actually have some control over what happens compared to roulette or slots, although I don't think any of the slot machines in the Sierra Madre are functional. I started with 303 chips and ended with 10,376 after almost exactly 10 minutes. That's not including the chip voucher I won from the cashier, which gave me 1,000 more chips. I bought some Med-X and an ungodly amount of stim packs from a vending machine, then I was forced to get back to the actual story. Personally, I like my story of coming here to gamble and steal a dress much more than whatever Father Elijah wants me to do. First, I went to the restaurant Cantina Madrid to stop Dog from blowing the whole place up. Inside the kitchen, Dog has turned up all the gas valves, which would cause the whole building to catch on fire if he were to explode his collar, which is exactly what he plans on doing.
Dog remembers you. Kind to Dog. Dog can't do this? Yes, he can.
Dog wants to burn the other voice, God, out of his body. My speech skill was just one short of being able to use that dialogue option, so I just told him to hold the other voice instead of destroying it. Not really sure how that was enough for him, but whatever. I turned off the gas valves and left the kitchen. Back in the lobby, I was greeted by most unfriendly guests, more ghost people. I knew this was coming and I was still disappointed. At least they're a lot easier to kill in the casino because there's a lot more open space to see where they went. I didn't even bother killing them all. After thinking that pieces of dead body were chips on the floor, I entered the Tampico Theater. Remember how I said Dean planned to break into the Sierra Madre with Vera Keyes before the war? He sort of betrayed her back then. When Vera started feeling guilty about doing that to Sinclair, Dean blackmailed her by saying that she had a Med-X addiction. The spiritual and fashion successor to Vera Keyes, Gia is about to be betrayed by Dean too.
Think you're going to upstage me here at the Sierra Madre? I don't think so. Now that I'm inside, well, I don't need you anymore.
He wants to kill me and take whatever's in the vault for himself now that I helped him get into the casino. Seems unfair to me, especially considering I'm not interested in the vault anyway. I am, however, interested in staying alive. The backstage section is no joke. I don't think this was the area I struggled with the most, but I'd absolutely say it was the area with the most trial and error. First of all, there's several speakers in just this hallway alone, meaning that basically any step forward is gonna explode me into a red paste on the floor. There was even a point when I broke a speaker thinking it would stop my color from beeping, but I exploded anyway. Second, speaking of red stuff, the cloud is back. It's inside the theater somehow. I don't know whose fault that is, but I'm blaming Dean. I got to a point where I just let my collar explode while I was looking around for the speakers I had to shoot. I must have reloaded this save like a minimum of 20 times. And you want to know the most hurtful part of all of this? When I got to Vera's dressing room, her dress wasn't even there. I kind of just assumed I'd be able to get it here, even though I remembered getting it in a different room. I just wanted my personal mission to be complete already. Once I had finally finished that grueling backstage area, I ran up to the projector to play Dean's holotape, which pacified the hologram guards who'd been shooting at me earlier. Dean is intimidated now that I made my way through the backstage area without dying. Permanently, anyway. I passed a hard speech check in hopes of avoiding combat with Dean, but he pulled the gun on me first. What was I supposed to do, not blow his head off? I grabbed Dean's tuxedo, even though I doubt I'll be leaving the Sierra Madre with it. It's just nice to leave him with no dignity in his afterlife. It's the least I could do after all the horrible things he put Sinclair, Vera, Christine, and me through. 2 companions dealt with, 1 more to go. Christine is holed up in the hotel suite section of the building, which is also where I'm gonna find Vera Keyes' dress later. Speaking of Vera, does anyone hear her in here?
Sinclair!
Before I could think about that, Christine miraculously began speaking to me in a suspiciously familiar voice over the intercom.
If it's who I think it is, this is Christine.
Sorry,
Recovered. In what looks like an old world hotel room. High class.
trusted you.
2 rooms. Exit sealed.
She warned me about the holograms in the suites, which aren't anything like the ones we've encountered so far. They're all in the image of Vera Keyes, complete with her voice and unbridled fear. These Vera imposters wander around the suites looking for Sinclair and, more importantly, answers. When the bombs fell and the Sierra Madre went on lockdown 200 years ago, Vera became trapped in her room without understanding why. Eventually, Vera died in her room and the hologram guards morphed into mimics of her. Vera's despair lingers in the Sierra Madre even after it has been given a second life. It almost makes you wonder if the treasures inside really are worth it. Of course they are! I came here for that woman's dress and I will be damned if I leave here without it. Gia really deserves something nice after blowing up 1,000 times back in the Tampico Theater. And don't I deserve something nice too after helping her achieve her extremely lofty goal? Don't I deserve to get to see my favorite companion Oh, there's Christine!
Good. There's to talk. I'll keep this quick in case my voice goes out.
Inside Vera Keyes' room, Christine gave me a key that she found on her when she woke up in the suite. She told me that she's determined to ensure Elijah's death at her own hands, but I convinced her to let me handle it since I'm the main character. She also told me that Vera's corpse is lying just behind her, surrounded by the Med-X she overdosed on. Inscribed above her bed is the simple phrase, "Let go." By now you may have realized that letting go is a major theme of Dead Money. Each of the main characters is holding on to something big that holds them back. Dog and God are weighed down by the unwanted other voice in their shared body. Dean is stuck 200 years in the past, forever clinging on to the hopes of someday collecting whatever lies inside the Sierra Madre vault. Christine is eternally haunted by the evil deeds of Father Elijah, whom she spent considerable time hunting all across the desert. And Elijah is chasing power that he doesn't deserve and could never ethically wield. These are 4 deeply troubled individuals who would all be bettered if they could just let go of the things they feel are so important. I have to ask, am I the same? Am I looking for something unnecessary and putting myself through hell to get it? Would it be easier to let go of my desires and go back to the Mojave? Probably, but the game doesn't work that way, so I have to finish the DLC. And great news, Vera's dress is right here on her skeleton! I peeled that thing off her body and immediately put it on mine. It doesn't look great with the explosive collar, but I can accessorize it better when we get back to the strip. Since I'm not very confident in my dodging abilities, I put my armor back on for now and left Christine to go confront Father Elijah in the vault. Back in the lobby, I used the reception terminal to play a recording of Vera Keyes singing, which activated hologram guards to kill all the ghost people who've been bothering me all this time. I wish I could have done this earlier when the ghost people were actually a problem, but I guess it's better late than never. This also reveals the key phrase to unlock the elevator leading to the vault. Begin again, let go. One teensy problem, it only recognizes Vera's voice. That problem is easily solved when you remember that Dean tried to modify Christine's voice to sound like Vera's, and magically this new voice of hers is identical to Vera Keyes. Because I was so kind to her and a little gay, Christine trusts me enough to let me go into the elevator by myself.
Begin again. But no one I wish you luck in the vault. Elijah is tough to pin down.
This begins the end of my sanity. As soon as you get down to the vault, you're stopped by these electric blue barriers where doors should be. With no way around them, I had to go on a very confusing walk/run/screaming sprint through the security. My collar kept beeping and exploding, I kept getting shot at by hologram guards, and I got lost more times than I'm comfortable admitting. I don't even want to show much of this section because it's honestly not all that interesting. I just feel the need to acknowledge it because I spent at least half an hour trying to figure out what I needed to do to get into the vault from here. Out of all my embarrassing actions in the Sierra Madre this time around, this is probably the worst. Todd Howard finally showed me some mercy, and I found the terminal that let me turn off those electric barriers. Getting to this vault door was so rewarding that I took a second to just enjoy the view. On the terminal by the door, Frederick Sinclair wrote, "Only the trustworthy may enter my vault." I like to think of Gia as a trustworthy character. I mean, she has neutral karma and is obsessed with taking things from people, but that doesn't make you a bad person. At least she didn't try to blow the whole building up or go around slapping bombs on people's necks. Stepping inside the vault, the door instantly closed behind me. Unlike Vera Keyes, I will not be trapped in the Sierra Madre until holograms take my ghostly form. I will be leaving here alive, well, and potentially weighed down by gold bars because now that I'm here, it's so hard to resist them. I mean, it's the first thing my eyes go to when I'm in this vault. My original priority was to leave with Vera Keyes' dress, of which I had 2 copies weighing 4 pounds altogether. If I were to drop everything else in my inventory, I'd only be able to bring 5 of the 37 gold bars home to the strip. However, I had a pretty big fight coming up and I didn't want to be ill-equipped. I held onto my armor, helmet, and favorite gun in case the Elijah fight was harder than I anticipated. I have never fought Elijah before, only trapped him in the vault. But Christine wants him to die and I just can't say no to her, so I forsook that 5th gold bar and settled on 4. The terminal on the desk contains a final message from Sinclair to Vera. It's pretty long but also pretty powerful, so I'd like to read you the entire thing if that's alright. Vera, if you're reading this, my fears have come to pass, and this is an apology. I hope you realize what my last words meant to you. If so, they have led you here, and this place will keep you safe. I know what they meant for me, and I fear they have trapped me here. I have extracted the previous entry after our conversation tonight. It can't have been easy for you, and I'm sorry for all I put you through in silence. I know while you do not love me, you did not mean any malice in what you did. I knew about your plans to rob the casino with Dean before you told me. Hearing it from you didn't make it any easier. For what it's worth, I'm glad you told me yourself, and I understood the tapes he had in his possession. I do not think either one of you realized what your addiction stemmed from, however, and that is the tragedy in this. I suspect the world would not have believed you regardless, so I respect your desire to keep it from others. When first building this villa, this casino, I meant it for you. As the world seemed to race headlong toward war, it became part of my desire to protect you. The loans, the funding I poured into the casino's construction, I knew it would not matter when war came for us. It was my means of creating a shelter, a defense if the world was bombarded in radiation and bombs. When Dean revealed his plans inadvertently through our introduction, I realized what had happened and how I had been tricked. For a time, my thoughts were dark. I changed the casino vault from a shelter to a trap, as I knew the first one to enter would be Dean. He would die down here, and it would have been by his own hand. I fear, however, that I overstepped myself, and the only safe place in the casino is the vault. I've tried to rewire the systems, change the protocols, and I cannot. I will do one last check on the pipes by the edge of the outside platform and see if anything can be done. I fear it is useless. If you come down here, do not access my personal accounts entry. It contains only a message for Dean, and it will seal the door and you will have no way out. Even the elevator is designed to automatically return when the door is closed, and it will lock in place. There should be enough in the vault to sustain you until help arrives. I've ensured that there is enough medical supplies down here to keep you comfortable. The hologram should defend the casino from any attackers, and the hologram beacon in the villa will broadcast an emergency signal so others know that you're here. When danger has passed, rescue will come. I hope you were able to read this and know that I loved you. Frederick Sinclair. I could have opened the message for Dean, but since I'm not him, I decided to heed Sinclair's warning to Vera. I closed the terminal and Elijah's stupid face appeared on the seal right in front of me.
You're in the vault, finally, after all this time. The Sierra Madre. Mine.
He was gloating like he had already won, but I had some big plans for him. I told him to come meet me down in the vault, and that idiot loser actually fell for it. Elijah came running after me as soon as he got to the vault. Luckily, I found a good hiding place from the turrets, so I wasn't getting shot at by them at all. Just a homophobic old man. If there's anyone who deserves to face my wrath, it's probably him. I'm normally pretty confident in my aiming, but this was an important fight that I just couldn't afford to lose, so I used VATS to help me get some good headshots. With a few shots to the head and one hip-fire shot to the chest for good measure, Elijah had been defeated. Unfortunately, I had no time to celebrate since the entire building decided to fall apart as soon as Elijah was dead. The beeping of my collar rang out one final time as I ran out of the Sierra Madre casino past hostile holograms and exploding walls. The Sierra Madre was always fated to blow up, never meant to withstand Fallout's bleak themes of war and destruction. Sinclair said it himself. This place was built as a refuge from the war, yet a different kind of conflict has brewed in its place. The beeping sped up exponentially as I neared the elevator, but once I was outside, I was free. My collar was removed and I could stand in Vera Keys' dress. Look how cool this is, so worth it. The ending slideshow tells us the fates of my companions of the Sierra Madre. Dog, now untethered to God, somehow escapes the casino with his life and went back to California where he would cannibalize entire small towns. Sounds bad, but for Dog, that's probably the happiest ending he can imagine. Obviously, we all remember what I did to Dean Domino. Death may be the happiest ending for him too. Being ghoulified and stuck trying to complete the same task for 2 centuries sounds pretty miserable if you ask me. At least the hologram of him in the Tampico theater kept performing beyond his death. And with Elijah dead, Christine could find a new purpose in life, looking after the Sierra Madre Hotel. If that's what she chooses to do, then I'm happy for her. I think that after everything Elijah has done to her, she deserves to live a comfortable life free from his suffocating evil. And that concludes Gia's journey to the Sierra Madre. I know the theme of Dead Money is letting go, and so many players are forced to literally let go of what they came to the Sierra Madre for, but I don't think Gia had to let go of anything. She maintained her usual megalomaniacal attitude while also having realistic expectations. I'm proud of her for that. I say that like I'm not really her. But unlike my character, I feel like I have let something go by coming to the Sierra Madre this time. For years I've been wanting to make Fallout videos and I just haven't because I assumed people wouldn't watch them. At this point, I don't care. I'm doing this for me. I couldn't think of a better Fallout story to start with than the one that truly allows me to begin again and let go. Thanks for watching.